Hi, I'm Kelly Lundgren, and I'm going to talk to you today about teaching with think tanks. As a teacher, we borrow a lot of ideas from other people, and I want to give credit to that person. So this is borrowed from Kim Holcomb. She's an assistant principal at D.P. Morris Elementary in Mansell, Texas. This year at my campus in Mesquite ISD, we're actually implementing it this year, so I'm kind of excited to talk about it. So think tanks are literacy centers, literature-based centers that integrate reading, writing, math, science, social studies, art, and technology, all into one little stackable tote for our kids to work out of while we're doing other things, and I'll talk about that later. Research states that secondary standardized test scores in Texas are much lower than elementary level. Research states that technical reading in the content areas is the biggest problem. Texts above the 5th grade level are more technical and multisyllabic. Academic vocabulary carries the comprehension in the content areas. What this tells me is that we need to better prepare our students at a lower level, in the elementary level, with their reading and their comprehension and their vocabulary, so they are better prepared when they get to that secondary level where those standardized tests are a little bit more rigorous than they are in elementary. The Center for Improvement of Early Reading Achievement states that in successful classrooms, teachers read books aloud, hold follow-up discussions, children read independently every day, and children write stories and keep journals. This is what our think tanks are kind of going to focus on, is reading and the discussions and having them read every single day, and then writing and keeping journals. 4 components of the think tanks. All of the think tanks should be reading across the curriculum in all subject areas. Recall of information through writing for deep comprehension. So they're going to read something, they're going to write about it, whether it's answering questions or writing their own stories. They're going to write about what they read. Then creative. They're going to have a hands-on activity and independent expression of comprehension. This is going to be something they create, no patterns used, no cutouts that are already printed on paper for them. They're going to be creative for their independent expression. An extension activity of knowledge for higher level thinking. We want our students to go beyond, and we have those gifted students who want to go beyond their curriculum, and this extension gives them the opportunity every day to have that push, that challenge for them to extend their learning. The focus of our think tanks are on core content: reading, science, social studies, grammar, math, poetry, technology. We want to use all these different elements into our think tanks. The think tanks also are a great use in the Bloom's taxonomy. They're higher order thinking strategies. Our recall stage, our create stage, and our extend stage, we're actually using and want to actually implement the Bloom's taxonomy. We want to give them the higher order thinking strategies to be successful on those standardized tests. Research shows that they've proven that reading instruction is the most effective when combined with writing instruction. Writing development is also inextricably tied to reading development. So our think tanks are going to focus on the powerful and essential combination of reading and writing. In every think tank, they need to be reading and writing. Multiple intelligence. So our think tanks are going to encompass all of our multiple intelligence. We have the intrapersonal skills, the interpersonal skills, talking to one another in our group. The musical, there's so many different musical things and songs that we can incorporate into those think tanks for them to listen, to sing along, maybe to make their own song. And then the kinesthetic. We're not going to force our students to work in a desk. We're going to let them go on the carpet, let them go on a corner, maybe they want to stand and do it. We have to give them the opportunity to do that, because I know not all of our students can sit in a desk for 50 minutes at a time. And this is their chance to get that opportunity to work how they would like to, standing up, leaning on a desk. So we want to give them that opportunity. So how and when am I going to do this? So how? You're going to have 2 to 3 students per group. Normal centers in a classroom have like 4 or 5. You don't want to have that many. We want a smaller number of students. Students will go to 1 center per day or think tank per day. You can also extend it, maybe 1 think tank per week, maybe 1 think tank every 2 days. Depends on how many students you have in think tanks and how it best fits your classroom. So you want to change it so it fits your classroom best. Have a variety of think tanks, 4 to 5 of them, centers and tubs. So whenever they do finish that one, they can go to the next one the next day. Each tank is going to last about 50 minutes, and each involves reading and writing across the curriculum. So when am I going to do this? When am I going to have time for my kids to go to centers? I don't have time already. Well, we always need that time for intervention. We need time for guided reading. We need that time to pull that small group of maybe lower level learners or at-risk learners and bring them together with me and for me to coach them and teach them or have that intervention time with them or have that reading time with them. And during that time, what are my other students going to do? A handout, reading out the book. Well, we're going to give them these think tanks, and they're going to be creating and extending and engaging think tanks for them to use. So our students will be in our think tanks while we are giving our intervention and guided reading time. And that gives us 45 minutes to 50 minutes of our small group instruction. Give our think tanks 4 days a week. My 5th day, I have 2 specials, so I'm not going to be able to do it 5 days a week. So you want to put it in your schedule how it best fits your classroom. And the approaches, you can have whole group, small group, independent. Whole group, you have your language block. Small group, you're getting your small group together with you. And then you have your independent learners in their think tanks. So while a teacher meets with guided reading groups, the other students are engaged in think tanks. This combination allows students to conference with a teacher, participate in guided reading, and engage in independent reading and writing activities during the language blocks or intervention time. So remember, read, recall, create, and extend. So here are a couple examples. So the first one is about science. So think science, Icky Sticky Frog. So you can read books about frogs. So you can have a couple of different books, maybe different levels about frogs. Then they can recall some expository facts about frogs. So that's your expository writing. And then create. Make a frog using green paper, scissors, and glue. Not a pattern. Don't cut a frog that is already printed on paper. Let them cut out their own frog, how they want it and how they see it. That allows for those creative learners to put together their thoughts and ideas. Then extend it for those gifted learners, those advanced learners who want to go beyond just what is from the book. So how does a tadpole become a frog? Sequence the life of a frog. Let them maybe draw it on a comic strip. And the fluff. Fluff is a little bit of extra stuff, something that catches their eye and engages the students. So some stuffed animal frogs, some frog puzzles, green markers, a puppet frog, some slimy, sticky frogs for the kids to play with. But something to catch their eye and get them engaged and maybe fidget with while they read, because we do have some of those learners. And standards. We have expository writing. Use parts of the book to locate information. Develop their vocabulary right to discover life of a cycle of a frog. So these think tanks should be standard aligned. Another example is think about math. Multiplication station. They can read the Anno's Mysterious Multiplying Jar. They can recall, explain the multiplication process in words. Think about what happens when multiply 2 numbers. Then create, design your own multiplying jar book. Write and illustrate a story of multiplication. And then extend. Practice multiplication facts. Complete a multiplication worksheet, or what would be great to have your kids make their own multiplication problems and share with their peers in their group. And another example is think reading, endangered animals. So read a book about endangered animals. Recall some information. How does it make you feel to read about endangered animals? What would you recommend to help some of these animals? Include 3 helpful suggestions in your paper. Then create. You want your students to have that creative touch to their work. You're a zoologist. Choose one endangered animal that you're interested in helping and gather facts to make your own endangered animal investigation. And then extend. Have students design and create an endangered animals poster. They could present the poster to the class, and they could teach the class about their animal, and have the students be able to talk to their peers about the animals and what they've learned. So what the teacher will be doing, again, you'll be doing guided reading, or you'll be doing intervention, normally with your lower level learners, or maybe your at-risk learners. This is the time that you get to pull them back, and all your students will be doing think tanks. Remember, you won't have them all the same think tank. Maybe one's in science, one's in math, one's in reading. You'll each be doing something else, and they'll be busy for 45 to 50 minutes while you're with your small group. So why implement integrated literacy think tanks? They maximize each child's ability to learn effectively in a cooperative group setting, allows for students of varying ability levels to work together. They're correlated to national education standards. They increase students' enthusiasm for learning. They provide engaging and interesting hands-on learning. They encourage students to become independent learners. You know, that you're not there, you're busy with your small group, and so they'll have to work together to figure it out. And they'll have reading and writing are the key elements in these think tanks. And each think tank is aligned with the state standards. So this is a great idea for you to use in your classroom, and I hope you will take the time and maybe possibly use it.